Hello, and welcome back to The Downsized. My name is Laraine Durham.
And I'm Christopher Durham.
And together we're The Downsized. We're a married husband and wife couple of 21 years, and we have been on a GLP-1 adventure together now for the past little bit over 1 year. I've lost 50 pounds on compounded tirzepatide.
And I've lost 81 pounds. So between the two of us, we've lost a little bit more than 130 pounds.
It sounds like a lot when you say it like that.
Yeah, it does. We get a lot of questions all the time. So today we're going to discuss one of the questions that has popped up a good bit in our live chats and in the comments and so forth around what do you say when people ask you about your weight at the holidays, Thanksgiving, whatever holiday it may be.
Hanukkah, whatever the case may be. You're going to be seeing probably some relatives coming up soon for the holiday season, maybe people you haven't seen in a while, and maybe you're down 20, 30, 40, 60, 80 pounds, and people might notice and might comment on your weight loss. We want to give you some strategies or some thoughts on how to be prepared when that happens. Maybe things to say, maybe things to think about.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to talk about.
So before we jump into that, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell. It will notify you every time we do something like this. Or if we go live on a random Tuesday, you'll get a note and say, hey, go talk to Christopher and Laraine.
Yeah.
I also like to say we're not doctors, we're not lawyers, we're not pharmacists, we're not insurance agents.
No, we're just two people who live in the neighborhood who do have a business doing marketing stuff.
Yep. We're a married couple of 21 years with 3 kids, all pretty grown up now.
Yeah.
26?
26,
Don't let me get the ages wrong.
26, 20, and 18.
Yep.
The last one just went to college this fall, so we are downsizing our lives in many ways.
And before we get into the whole holiday conversation, to give you a little bit of background on our family so you know, hey, when we go out families, we go out families. I actually have a twin brother, so I'm 56 years old. I have a twin brother.
They do not look alike.
We do not look anything alike. He's 3 or 4 inches shorter than me and has a full head of black hair. On the graying side now at 56, and he's also taking, I believe, tirzepatide now and is doing well on it. In addition to that, I have 6 brothers and sisters beyond that, so there's 8 of us total. My parents have both passed away, honestly, from weight-related comorbidities. I've talked about that a good bit on the channel, but just to give background on my family, how about your family?
I have one sister. We always grew up far away from family. We have relatives in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, California. So it's always been either we're with them at the holidays, but usually we're not. So it's usually just my family. Recently, my sister's family and her in-laws have come together with my family and my mom and dad, and that's how we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving this year with my parents in South Carolina. My parents have always been focused on weight, their weight, my weight, everybody's weight. And my sister has always been very exercise focused, so she's run a lot of triathlons. She used to be on a triathlon team. She's very focused on fitness, bodybuilding. Her husband is very into sports. He plays rugby competitively still at age 56. He coaches a women's rugby team or 2.
At the college level.
Yeah, and he's very into sports. His dad actually was hallmates with the former Dallas Cowboys quarterback Roger Staubach. You guys might know
Annapolis,
him. At Annapolis at the Naval Academy. We always have to watch football, the Cowboys, on Thanksgiving if we're with them. Christopher doesn't really care anything about football. We'll watch it if it's on, but we don't really care. That's how our Thanksgiving is going to go.
And we'll actually be doing 3 different Thanksgivings there, so it's going to be fun. So we'll start out the Saturday before Thanksgiving and do Thanksgiving with you guys. We'll do what I'm pitching as sort of an idealized GLP-1 Thanksgiving dinner. So we'll have some viewers over to the house and do a live stream and cook turkey and sweet potatoes and better for you idealized GLP-1 focused recipes and have a chat conversation with viewers and stuff. So that should be fun. Then we'll go to Lorraine's parents' house. She said then the Saturday after that we'll be back because my favorite meal of the entire year is Thanksgiving, and I love to cook Thanksgiving dinner for large amounts of people.
Groups.
So I don't mind going to her mom's house, but I really want to cook. So we'll do a Friendsgiving at our house the Saturday after that and have a bunch of friends over to the house. So there's all kinds of opportunities for conversations around religion, politics, sex, weight,
Eating.
football, you name it. There's going to be people gnashing of teeth.
Gnashing of teeth.
Gnashing of teeth. You got it.
Yes, for sure. Let's talk about a little bit about how we just handle these conversations in our everyday lives with just random people. I've certainly handled questions from people at the gym who have seen me lose weight over the past year. And I just flat out tell them, this is one strategy you can go with. People all the time ask me, how did you lose weight? How much weight have you lost? And I'm happy to tell them that I've lost 50 pounds and I use a weight loss drug called tirzepatide. In addition to, I work out at the gym, I also go to Weight Watchers and I do all the things. This weight loss medication has just given me a tool that has really worked like nothing that I've ever tried. What do you say, Christopher?
And we've talked about this before, but I start from the point of I don't ask people about their weight to begin with. So I'm always surprised if people say anything about my weight. I mean, I didn't say, hey, you look like you're putting on weight when you did. And I'm not going to say, hey, you look like you're taking it off. It's not my business, so I don't approach it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I know you disagree with that, but it's just where I am on
I
it.
think it might be a female point of view versus a male point of view also. I mean, growing up, I've done diets with girlfriends. I've done diets in groups. I remember one time we all got together and all took each other's measurements and wrote them down. I don't even know why we did that. Some sort of competition maybe to see who could lose
It doesn't
the
sound
most.
healthy.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't. And, looking back on it, I don't even remember why we did that. But anyway, I mean, it's just growing up, I've always talked about weight with my friends. So I'm sure that was never a topic of conversation with your friends.
I mean, I had friends in high school and college who would talk about weight, but it was always sports related. I need to lose some weight to be in a wrestling class. I need to gain some weight because I'm on the football line and my coach said I'm too small. There was always some functional reason. It wasn't, I want to look better in a bathing suit. It wasn't, there was none of those things. It was just a very different experience.
Yeah.
But I tend to, when I'm asked those questions, I don't know, it's the analytical thing in me. I say, in my head, of course, not to them, why are they asking this question? Is this curiosity? Is it concern for my health? Is it because I'm jealous? So I don't have one pat answer. There's no, it's none of your damn business. There's no a compounded tirzepatide. In fact, I have come to a place where I don't even use the word compounded because I think it just confuses the conversation.
We have talked about that. I've got a bug bite sitting out here. Bugs love me. See that? Bugs love me. Bugs do not like him. They will just go to me and leave him alone. Don't know why.
So I want to know, who are they? Why are they asking the question? And it's not that I'm sitting there quizzing them. It's me thinking in my head, this is my and probably the person who would ask that I'm thinking about is my sister-in-law's mother-in-law, if you followed that. Nice
Miss
old
Ellie?
Miss Ellie, nice, and Miss Ellie would watch. So hello, Miss Ellie.
She might be watching.
But she would ask, and she would just be curious, and she's a scientific lady, and she's
very
really nice.
science-based. She likes facts.
So it wouldn't be,
very well educated.
it wouldn't be any kind of, there would be no hidden agenda in it. It wouldn't be offensive to me. No. And then we would just have the conversation, and she'd ask scientific questions and know, how are you feeling? And all those things. Whereas there's some other people, we won't name names, who would be like, what are you doing? That's the wrong way to do it. So it's starting with what's the reason and then forming a conversation around the reason, or choosing not to have it at all and walking away.
And that's always an option. I mean, you don't have to disclose your personal health choices with anyone. You can just say, oh yeah, I've been working on it. Or, oh yeah, I've, tried a few things, found something that's working, or nothing at all. I mean, it's really nobody's business. If you would like to share it with them, that is your prerogative. I want to eliminate these stigmas that are around weight loss. Weight loss has always been a very difficult conversation, and I don't want it to be a difficult conversation. I want people to be able to talk about weight loss and weight loss medication like you would talk about high blood pressure or high blood pressure medication or high cholesterol medication. Because why should my breath catch when I talk about weight loss? Why should I tense up? I shouldn't. And I feel like the more that we have these conversations and the more that we talk about it, those stigmas will hopefully lessen and eventually dissolve.
Well, and you can set the tone, right? So not everybody is in the same place. And I'll tell you, even as we've been the last 56, 57 weeks on the adventure, the place that we were in month 1 and the place that we're in, today are 2 different places, because the first few months we didn't tell anybody, we didn't talk about it. So as you see success and as you deal with it more, in yourself, your attitude may change, and it just depends on where you are. There's no right or wrong answer, and you know the people that you're talking to. So you have to do what you're comfortable with. You set the tone, though. So don't allow somebody to take your power, your agency. You set the tone. So if they come at you hard, you can come back at them hard, or you can walk away.
Those Christopher Durham methods.
Or some, not usually, I don't.
And thinking about back to last year, now that you say that, so we started on September 29th of 2023. So we went through October, and I guess the first month, I think I lost 6 or 7 pounds. You lost probably twice that. And then in November, I lost another 5 or 6 pounds. So by the time we got to Thanksgiving, I started at 193. I was probably around 180 by the time we got to Thanksgiving, which was a normal weight for me. Wasn't a high weight, wasn't a low weight. We saw our family. It wasn't a topic of conversation because we didn't look that different.
No.
I think once we got to Christmas, I had lost another probably 10 pounds, and I remember we went to see my parents just overnight. Like, we had dinner as a big group with my parents and my sister and her family. And I remember thinking, I wonder if my mom is going to notice, because my mom is always she always notices when I lose weight. She always wants to encourage me. She will always comment on it. And she didn't say anything. And I thought, dang, okay. But at that point, I guess I had lost maybe 25 pounds, maybe 30 pounds. So I was probably like in the 160s range.
And that's a little more than halfway to your...
Which was a low weight for me, which I thought she might notice, but I mean, not for anything. I wore a loose sweater dress, and we weren't there for very long. And she told me later that she had noticed, and she meant to say something, and she didn't, in looking back on the situation. And at that point, we hadn't told anyone at Christmas. No. We hadn't told any friends. I don't think we'd even told our children, really.
We had not.
We hadn't told my parents, we hadn't told your family, our close friends, no one. I guess we decided to tell people. When did we decide to tell people? We told our close friends here locally, I guess around New Year's.
Yeah.
Because I think they wanted to go out for New Year's Eve, and we really didn't. Like, we were
on the cruise that week.
We didn't go on a cruise until January.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You are correct.
Yeah, so we didn't really want to go out for New Year's Eve because we didn't feel like eating, we didn't feel like drinking, we were just tired. We just kind of like, we don't really feel good, we want to stay in. And they were kind of like, oh, what's going on? So I remember we ended up telling them, our friends, the Reeses, and they were like, oh, well, that's great. They were very supportive, had some questions, but very supportive. We've known them for 10 years plus, so they've seen us through all kinds of different things with our kids. Our kids are friends, and they hang out. And then I don't think we told, what did we tell my parents?
I think you called them, right? Or you FaceTimed them?
Oh, I remember. We started this YouTube channel. And I said, I guess if I'm going to tell the world about it, this was in March, I guess if I'm going to tell the world about it, I should probably tell my mom.
So we started taking the medication in September the year before, so it had been a little while.
It had been about, 6 months or so. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I had lost probably 40-ish pounds. So I texted them. I think I texted her our first YouTube video.
I think you did.
And she watched it, and my dad watched it, and they, I don't know, liked it, I guess. My mom still follows along sometimes. She'll watch videos, and my dad sometimes watches too, and they'll send us notes, which is nice.
It's like American Idol.
Yeah. And so I've talked to them about it in person a few times that we've seen them in the past few. These bugs are just all over me. We've talked to them about it a few times.
And your dad's very scientific, so he wants to know, how does it work?
Yeah.
And he's looking it up, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a few of the different types of questions that people might ask. There's certainly a more casual, sort of non-intrusive, light question, like, "Oh, you look great. What's your secret?" Or, "How did you manage to lose weight?" Or just those throwaway conversations at a holiday party.
Yeah.
How do you answer those?
Thanks. I mean, it depends on if I want to get into it or not. I guess people that have known me for a long time know that I have been continuously trying to lose weight. I've lost weight, and I've lost and gained the same 30 pounds probably 3 or 4 times in the past 10 years. People have seen me balloon up and slim down. It wouldn't be unusual for people in the neighborhood to say, "Oh, what are you trying now?" They see me maybe jogging around the neighborhood or walking around the neighborhood or doing different exercises at different gyms around town. If someone's fitness minded, like if I know that person works out, I will talk to them more maybe openly about it. Actually, I don't even know if that's true.
So it doesn't sound true.
I
think I would be less likely to talk to Workout Sally.
Thinking about our friends who ride bikes long distances and have done bike rides for charity. Our friends, a husband and wife team that we know does that. And I've seen them at the gym. The wife actually used to be a Weight Watchers check-in person. A long time ago, I would go to the class where she worked. So we've seen each other kind of struggle with weight and things.
I don't know, and I can't speak to them, but if I'm standing at a cocktail party for Christmas or what have you, and triathlon Tim walks up, I'm not telling him a single thing, because I know in my heart of hearts this guy's going to give me crap about taking the easy way out. However, if the dad down the street that's 50 pounds overweight and he's just trying to take care of his kids and he's walking his dog asks, we might have a very long conversation.
Yeah, I mean, and some people just will come at it with a whole set of preconceived.
Well, they've watched the news, they've read whatever conspiracy theory, they've done whatever.
Seen stars losing weight on Ozempic, or.
I mean, if it's the light, easy question, I will usually opt, and Laraine knows this, for a one-word or one-sentence answer of thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I've invested a lot in it, or thanks, I'm working on it. Mm-hmm. And change the subject or walk away.
Yeah, I'll tell them the whole story.
Yeah.
I'll tell. But that's just me.
I mean,
and really, I've gotten to a point where you can't hurt my feelings.
Oh, sure they can. Let's not pretend. They can hurt your feelings.
The casual...
we've been married for 21 years. They can hurt your feelings.
In the casual conversation, you're not going to... If you tell me, "Oh, you cheated, isn't that cheating?" That's not going to hurt my feelings. It might have at the beginning. It's not going to hurt my feelings now, because I know that obesity is a disease. Okay, I've been battling this disease for my whole life, and now I have a medication that helps me fight it. And why is that cheating?
And that's certainly someone, so if we set aside those casual questions that really elicit short conversations, they're neither good nor bad, they're just casual questions. And somebody asks you a more in-depth question, right? "Oh, are you on some kind of medication?" But it's a kind question. It's not, "You're a lazy sack of whatever" question.
Yeah.
So,
well, yes, I'm taking a GLP-1 weight loss medication. And that goes to, what's a GLP-1 weight loss medication?
And see, I don't ever say GLP-1 or tirzepatide, because
sometimes I just
nobody's ever heard of
confuse
those things. If you want to confuse them, you can. I mean, you can confuse them, dazzle them with science, and move on.
Yeah.
I will say I'm taking, if it's specific, and I have a few friends, even men that we've talked about it with, I've been taking a medication that helps with weight loss called Zepbound, and even if I'm doing the compounded, I'll still say Zepbound because it's the same thing. The distinction is really irrelevant.
I have told people I'm taking a medication that's called Zepbound. It's just to explain compounding and the whole 9 yards to someone who is not.
It doesn't matter
in the space.
Yeah.
It's more information overload
and then
needed.
Go into the depth of, hey, these are medications that really help my stomach talk to my brain and know that I'm full, and it really helps balance everything out in my body such that I can lose weight appropriately and healthy. And I've been working with a local doctor, and then we've got a whole plan developed to do this. If they want more, we can obviously go in more detail and talk about how to do it, and I can show them the YouTube channel and all that. But
yeah, and that's one reason why I wanted business cards with the Downsized. So we got some business cards that say the Downsized and my name and my phone number and our YouTube channel.
Which our kids thought was hysterical.
Because I get these out to people at the gym. If I'm having a 30-second conversation before a class starts and they want to know more, I'll just hand them a card and I'll say, check out my YouTube channel, because people want to know about these medications, and they're new. They're still new. Not everybody has heard of them. Not everybody knows the magic that works in this scientific development and the scientific breakthrough. So I'm happy to point them towards more information.
And so even at this level of in-depth question where they're still being kind, you can still tell them whatever you want to tell them. It's still your healthcare. It's still your weight loss journey. So you have to say what you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with talking about it at all, I would politely do one word or a sentence or something. Just tell them, hey, I'm working with my doctor and we've got a great plan, and move on. Most people are not going to push you on stuff. They're just not.
Or they don't really care. I mean, they don't really care that much.
It's more a casual conversation.
It's more like, hey, you look great. What are you doing? You can say, you can go into depth, or maybe it's just not that serious. And you can say, yeah, I've been working on it. If they ask further questions, I guess maybe I would give them more information. But yeah, and some people do get upset about it. Some people, especially if they're like hardcore workout.
That's that third kind of question. That sensitive, judgmental question.
Yeah.
It's, why didn't you just try diet and exercise? Isn't that medication risky? What are the long-term effects? Are you
Don't you
cheating?
have to stay on it forever? Yeah. And if you want to answer all the questions, you can point them to our channel if you want to. But yeah, I think some people who have always dieted and exercised and starved their body and really done a lot of things to maintain a weight look at this as, oh, you just took this drug and you lost weight. It's really not, it's not quite that simple. And I don't want to get into a battle of, I just ran 5 miles and what did you do today? I don't want to get into all that. Like, this is just something I'm doing. It works for me, and my doctor approved it.
And you just have to set your own boundaries there and politely. I mean, I will tell people, hey, I appreciate your concern. I am comfortable with my choice. I've been working with my local doctor, and if you're working out, your nutritionist or whoever, you can embellish however you'd like. And I'm happy with the results, and we're building a plan that is a long-term plan. And you just move on. So there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it at all. There's also nothing wrong with, particularly when we go to events together. I mean, I will pay attention. I don't know that Laraine does this, but I'll pay attention to Laraine and make sure nobody's messing with her.
Who's gonna mess with me?
You just never know. And it's not that they just become too much. Sometimes you just have to protect your spouse or your significant other and act as a buffer and get in between people, because they just don't need to be acting like that.
Yeah, I mean, when we had our conference in Arizona, a lot of those people we've known through business for several years now. So they've seen us, over the course of the past year. We have done 2 or 3 events over the past year, and they've seen us A lot of those business acquaintances have said, oh my gosh, you guys look great. Or, Christopher, you guys, what are you doing? Like in a casual business setting, I'm not so apt to tell the 1,000 details. We do have a close business associate, Maria, that has said, very nice lady, a little bit older than us. She has been a very good partner to us. She and Christopher talk all the time on the phone. And at the last conference, she came up and she gave me a big hug and she said, I'm so proud of you. You look so great. And I wish I could get on this medication too. And so she is very supportive in that way. And I don't mind.
And see, I'm in a different place in that environment, because if you guys, you can go back and watch it, but at our last conference, and this is a lot of the same people, I did a 30-minute presentation on these and talked about my weight loss. Mm-hmm. So it's out. There's no question about it.
Yeah,
it's not.
You put it out there.
It's out. They can go watch it now. You guys can go watch it. And it was really this conversation around GLP-1s and my weight loss, and how GLP-1s will affect the food industry and grocers in general. So it's a whole conversation. But so I don't really have a choice. I can't really. In that environment, I can't push it off. It's just
yeah. And I guess you wanted to beat people to the punch in a way.
That, and I believe the GLP-1s are going to dramatically change the grocery industry, the food industry, the drugstore industry. I mean, I think there's just a huge change, and I think we can help drive that change, so it's a good thing. So if you just want to deflect them, right, and push them off, what techniques do you use where you can just get out of a situation?
Say thanks, smile. I had a boss one time tell me the first person who speaks loses in a negotiation. So if you just say thanks, they're either going to say something back or the conversation's going to end and you walk away. I don't know that would apply to that situation. But anyway, just, sometimes less is more. You can just say thank you.
And sometimes I just deflect and go, oh, did you see Adam's here? Let's go talk to Adam. Or I wonder what they have on the dessert table. But there's always some way to change the conversation, that you don't have to lie to anybody, but you're able to change it up. Now, the challenge is when you're sitting next to Uncle Harry at Thanksgiving dinner, and Uncle Harry's kind of a grumpy old fart, and he's going to ask you all the inappropriate questions.
What do you eat on this GLP-1 diet? What can you eat on that?
I mean, there's a couple of strategies there. So we all have them. So we all have the grumpy old uncle, right? Most often I try to make sure that my wife and children are not next to Uncle Harry, because it's not going to be pretty. It's just not. So strategically figuring out who you want to sit next to and who you want to talk to before you're in the situation is a great idea, because there are certainly people that you'll have a better dining conversation with than others.
Yeah, and then, and sometimes really can't even help it. It's really just up to you if you want to tell people about it or not. And if you do choose to share with them, I mean, what a great gift you could be giving to someone. When my friend Elaine shared with me what she had, I said, oh my gosh, you look great. What have you been doing? Immediately upon seeing her 50 pounds down. And she told me she was taking a drug called Manjaro. I mean, that moment literally changed my life. It's just, maybe you could be the catalyst for someone else's weight loss or health journey. Or Christopher's been able to cut down his blood pressure medication. We're hoping that his cholesterol medication we can drop. His sleep apnea
but
went
for me,
away.
that's the way you deflect grumpy old Uncle Gary. It's a health conversation. It's not a weight conversation.
It's a health conversation.
The challenge, particularly in the U.S., of weight conversations is they have a tendency to feel like vanity. Like, oh, I just want to be pretty, or I want to be lighter, I want to be on the cover of a magazine. And they're not. But I think a lot of people believe that. So if you shift the conversation to health and say, I've been working with my doctor and my blood pressure's getting better and my cholesterol's getting better. And it's a very personal journey. And you can share as much or as little as you want to. I mean, you can also say, hey, this is my personal health and I'm taking care of myself. I appreciate you noticing, but let's just enjoy the holidays and not talk about it. It's okay.
Yeah, and for me, I always say I was a very healthy fat person. I didn't have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, sleep apnea. I was 50, 60 pounds overweight, but there was really no health reason I wanted to lose weight. It really was.
Wasn't there though? Or do you just say that? What did they say on Oprah about that?
I mean, eventually it catches up to you. Yeah. So as you get older,
you just
maybe
hadn't recognized the health reason yet.
I mean, maybe I had some bursitis. I don't know. I mean, but for me, the main driver, like my why, when people talk about what's your why for losing weight, to fit in a smaller clothing size. And that sounds so like vain, but really, it's the truth. I mean, I wish I could say, oh, my health was so important to me, or I wanted to do X, Y, and Z, or I wanted to run a faster half marathon.
But are you going to say that at the Thanksgiving dinner table is the question?
No, I'm not going to say that.
What are you going to say at the Thanksgiving dinner table?
I'm going to say I've been trying to lose weight for a long time. Anybody that knows me knows I have been chunky my whole life. To see me now not chunky, it's like when we went to my cousin's daughter's graduation party. Mm-hmm. And we saw a lot of, not relatives, but relatives of my relatives, yeah. If that makes sense. So people that have known me since I was a little girl. So like my cousins on the other side, and their parents were there. And one of the uncles...
A lot of old Greek people.
One of the uncles said, oh my God, Lori, you look so skinny. This is the smallest I've ever seen you in your whole life. You look great. And I just said, oh, thank you. That's really nice of you to say. I've been working on it. He didn't want the whole dissertation but he just wanted to tell me that he noticed and congratulations. And I think he was just genuinely happy to see that. You know what I mean? And sometimes people are just genuinely happy for you. And that's really nice. I've found it to be rare, but it's really nice.
But it's okay to just have a brief conversation, be polite, and move on. It's also okay if they're being aggressive to take them out if you want to.
I'm not going to take somebody out.
I'm very rarely going to. It depends on how aggressive. And it's honestly, if they come at me, I don't really care. If they came at Laraine, then I would take them.
That's fair.
It's just bottom line. And it's not that there's no violence or anything, but it's just... It's easy enough to be cutting about weight and health. And if you're doing that to my wife, then I'm going to give it back to you threefold.
And there is a jealousy component. So there is one lady in particular at the gym who has been asking me questions like every week, month, every time I see her. And the last time I saw her, she said, you've lost more weight. You're going to stop now, right? You're done now. You're not going to lose any. I don't want you to lose any more. And I weigh 143 pounds. I'm 5'4" and a quarter. Like, I'm not like, not some waist person anymore, but I probably weigh less than her, and I'm probably a smaller size than she is. And so I really felt like she was threatened because now I was smaller than her. And it's sad when you see women like that coming at other women. But I mean, I've seen it my whole life. It's nothing new. I'm sure everybody out there has examples of things like that. And if she asks me questions, I'm really not going to go into detail. I'm just going to give very brief answers and then move to the other side of the room. And when it comes to something as serious as your health and wanting to live longer for your children, there's nothing more. There's no more valiant quest than that.
That's the other piece of it, though. It's if you want to come at me, okay, come at me. But if you want to tell me I need to work out more and eat less and all of those things, and that don't work, and diets haven't worked, you've done 1,000 of them, you always gain that 20 pounds back.
Yeah.
The idea that I can work with a doctor and get a medical intervention, a treatment for the disease of obesity, and lose 80 pounds in a year. First of all, it's nobody's business but mine. Second, it worked. And if it buys me that extra year, that extra 5 years, that extra 10 years where I can walk my daughters down the aisle, and I can hold a grandbaby,
for that, yeah.
versus debating over whether I coulda, shoulda, woulda run a marathon and did it the right way. Cut them off. I don't need to do it. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, and what a lot of people come at me, aren't these medications really expensive? Yeah, they are. We've made a lot of sacrifices so we could be on these medications. We've cut our things in our budget, we've cut things out, but really, how much is it worth to you? How much is it worth to finally get to the weight you want to be at, to meet the health goals that you want to meet, to live longer, to be healthier? I wish it was less expensive. I hope that someday it will be. And if your insurance covers this medication for you, you have hit a jackpot.
For sure.
Do whatever you have to do to stay on that insurance. But unfortunately for us, our insurance does not cover weight loss medication. It's a little bit different. But I mean, what price?
Really what this conversation comes to is part of this adventure, as I call it. A lot of people call it a journey, but the adventure, yeah, it's about losing weight. Yeah, it's about being healthier. But health comes in many forms. And part of that health is working on ourselves and our self-confidence and our awareness and our comprehension of those around us. Now, that's easy to say and it's hard as hell to do. Because, right, most of us, many of you have been beat up about your weight, about your health for years and decades. It doesn't magically change overnight.
Yeah. I mean, I can remember many years, many holidays, get together with my grandparents or other relatives and dreading seeing some of them because I had gained weight. I didn't want them to say things. And of course they were going to say things, and they did say things. And it can be hurtful when you're a teenager or a 20-something or a 30-something and your grandmother says, "Why are you eating that? You shouldn't be eating that." Like, really?
It goes with them patting you on the belly and going, "Oh, you don't need a pillow to play Santa."
Oh, did somebody say that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to lose weight? Have you tried to lose weight? What are some of the things you've tried?
But it's interesting. These medications work on so many aspects of our health and our well-being. Certainly they make you eat less, and certainly they stop that food noise and all of those things, but the dramatic shift in how much control you have over your life and how you perceive yourself and how you perceive even the rest of the world, I can't even fully explain, because until you're down that road, and it sounds so trite, it's almost like telling people you don't understand what it's like to be a parent until you have a kid. You don't understand what it's like a year later and 80 pounds later until you're there.
Yeah.
But you can, and you will.
Yeah. If you've started on this medication and you've lost any weight on this medication, you can lose 15 to 20% of your body weight, according to the studies that were done on this medication. You're going to get there. Keep going, and you're going to get there. It might be 1 pound a week or 2 pounds a week, but a year from now, you could be 50 to 100 pounds down. And what would that look like for you? What would that look like for your family? What would that look like in how you went about your day? What things could you do that maybe your weight kept you from doing? I was watching our friend Var Pereira. She's got a YouTube channel called Health at Any Cost and a blog called Health at Any Cost. And she talks about how when she was over 400 pounds, she was so sick, bedridden, she really could not move from her bed to the bathroom without a walker. and she started on some GLP-1 medications, and over the course of the past, I think 2 years, has lost over 230 pounds, and it's just changed her life. She walks around outside. She lives in Florida. She went to Disney World. She went to Epcot. Like her whole relationship with her family and her children and her life is completely changed because of these GLP-1s. It's just opened up so many doors for so many people.
Depending on where you are in your journey and how much weight you've lost, how tall you are, there's a lot of factors. You might show up to Thanksgiving or Christmas and people might go, oh my goodness, what has happened? Or they might not notice at all. Don't be disappointed if either one happens. It's okay. But if it does, spend a little time before you get there and think about what are you comfortable with talking about. And it may be different things with different people. You may have different answers for your best friend than you do for the cousin who was always mean to you. It's just life.
Yeah.
It's your health care. It's your private information. You do not have to share it if you do not want to. And you get to decide how that story is told. Nobody else does. We've chosen to be very out there and start a YouTube channel, and we're just all over the place. But that obviously is not the right answer for everybody.
Yeah.
Now, what I would tell you is if you'd like to tell your story, we, of course, do interviews every week. You want to practice with us, we won't tell anybody. Don't worry about it. You can come on and chat with Laraine or I. And how do they reach out to you, Laraine?
You can send me an email to Laraine at thedownsized.org. It's Laraine at thedownsized.org. And I'll send you a link to our calendar. You pick a time that works for you, and we'll record a 30-minute or so conversation about your weight loss journey. It's open to anybody. I take requests all the time, so send me an email and we'll get you set up. I have interviewed several people who have told me, I haven't even told my mom that I'm on this, but here I am on your channel, so take that for what you know.
And I mean, it's interesting because the entire journey, the entire adventure, there are challenges all along the way. And the first challenge is you deciding you even want to have that conversation with a doctor that you need to explore that. That's as big a goal, overcoming that, as losing 100 pounds, believe it or not. And I say that not tritely, but we have talked to so many people that they can't work up themselves to get to the doctor, or they've just gotten the medication and it's been sitting there for 2 weeks and they can't work it up to do it. So there are so many steps along the way that you have to do, and you have to be brave, and it's part of the adventure.
Doctors don't even address weight unless there's a goose back there. My doctor never brought up weight with me. I mean, and I was sitting at 50, 60 pounds overweight, and it was never a topic at any physical unless I said, hey, I want to lose weight. Can you prescribe me something? A lot of doctors just won't even address it. So if you bring it up with them and say, hey, I've heard about these GLP-1s, do you think one of them might be right for me? It's a great way to start a conversation. I'd also come armed with some facts in hand in case your doctor isn't really up on them, and a lot of them aren't. It's relatively new. Ozempic's been around for, 20 years or something like that. So semaglutide, Ozempic, Wegovy, those have been around for a while. Tirzepatide, which is Mounjaro, and now Zepbound are a little bit more recent medications in the past 3 years or so.
Back to the original question. What do you say at those holiday meals or those cocktail parties? I think my biggest takeaway for you is spend a little bit of time before you're there and think about what you want to say. So plan it out a little bit. Don't let people surprise you. The surprise is what gets you. You generally know who are going to be at parties. You know what's going to happen. Plan out a couple of scenarios. Do a little role playing with your spouse, your significant other, your daughter, your son, whoever.
Yeah.
And say, hey, what happens if mean old Uncle Larry says this? Or what happens if Susie says that? Be prepared.
Or people might just honestly have questions. I went to a high school reunion a few weeks ago, and I was talking to one of my classmates, and they had watched my channel. And this was a male classmate of mine who over the years has gained a substantial amount of weight. And he had questions. He wanted to know, what were your side effects? Are you worried about the long-term side effects? How fast did you lose weight? So you might want to just think about how you would answer those questions if someone posed them to you. And you might really help somebody out. Somebody might decide to start this medication because they saw your success. I mean, that's the goal of our channel. And I just think it'll help a lot of people.
With the right preparation, the holiday conversations don't have to be anxiety-ridden. They don't have to be scary. Is somebody going to say something that's inappropriate? Probably. What would life be if they didn't? Somebody going to ask a question that you wish they hadn't? Probably. Again, what would life be if they didn't? But plan ahead. Have a little backup in some of your family, and you'll be okay. Okay, this is up to you, and you get to share what you want to. You get to tell your own story. If you haven't already, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Click that bell. If you want to talk about this more, please leave comments. Tell us how you handle things. Ask questions in the comments. If you'd like to join us now through the end of the year, I think we'll probably be doing the lives on Wednesday at 7 Eastern Standard Time. So please join us at 7. We ask some questions. If we don't know the answer, there's usually 100, 150 people on there.
Somebody on there will know.
It might have the perfect answer.
Because we're not doctors. We don't have all the answers. We just have talked to a lot of people on these medications.
And the power of the community out there, that voice is really, really strong, and we appreciate that. And that's going to be our conversation for today about what do you say at a holiday party about your weight loss? All right. Do you want to close it up for us?
Thanks for watching. We're the Downsized. I'm Laraine Durham.
And I'm Christopher Durham. Thanks for watching. We are the Downsized.